There is no denying for this city, for this roster, for this locker room, and for this time, Dan Campbell's the perfect coach. Sometimes the NFL messaging from coaches can seem a little cringy or cheesy, not to the players. There is a brotherhood and a masculinity that, I'll be honest, I like. The Detroit Lions are a symbol of so many things that are great about the NFL. Every game matters. Grit and toughness, which our society can always use, is really paramount. And again, unapologetically alpha. Dan Campbell on a weekly basis after winning is almost in tears, preaching the message and his devotion to the city of Detroit and the Lions. The number one seed. This is the Chicago Cubs in shoulder pads. That's what it feels like.
And man, the first week it was a disaster, right? Everybody was like, oh, the Lions suck. They scored 13 points. They look bad doing it. Well, the last 3 weeks, they're averaging 41 points per game. So whatever John Morton's doing right now, it's working. And I just think he's a great story of a guy who goes a quarter of a century in the league before he really gets his chance. And he's taking advantage of it.
And credit to Dan Campbell for giving him that chance, because a lot of head coaches, especially when you lose both your coordinators, you want a proven commodity. You're not trying to take a flyer on some dude. You want a proven commodity. But coach, let's go back even earlier than week one. Remember what we talked about in the preseason? I want to read you the point totals by the Lions. They had 4 games because they played in the Hall of Fame game. They scored 7, 17, 17, and 7 in the preseason. And you, me, and plenty of other shows around the world of sports were saying, what is going on? They are not going to be as high-powered as before.
I mean, that was almost like a doomsday scenario for the Lions.
They're back for sure in the playoff and Super Bowl picture right now. I'm not canceling my room yet. That's for sure.
Yeah. It's awesome that the Lions have this like riverboat, like gambling type brand because of like Dan Campbell and going for it on 4th down. And I actually thought it was kind of a good insight that Troy Aikman said last night, that he's like, they know on 3rd down whether they're going to, it's a 4-down territory or not.
Right.
I thought that was a good little tidbit that he gave us. Now it's like, okay, now how do they call the game differently on these next 2 plays? But yeah, it just was amazing.
Give it to me right now, please. Right here. The Detroit Lions, after their stinker in the opener, their offense has been prolific. We no longer can talk about the offensive coordinator not knowing what he's doing. Dan Campbell hiring the wrong guy for that position. That is no longer an issue with this team. The number one threat to the Philadelphia Eagles in the NFC are the boys from Detroit. The late great Stuart Scott used to say that, okay? God rest his soul. Detroit, the Detroit Lions. They're top 3. They just ain't top 2. We know what it is.
If there's a team that's playing as well as them right now all the way around, the Lions, I have it 4, and they are ascending after that week 1. And I still have the Bucs in the top 5.
No, it's the Detroit Lions. I'm not going to be dismissive of what I just saw from the Detroit Lions in Baltimore. That was a dominant performance. That's going to be a dominant team, and I wouldn't be surprised if Detroit represents the NFC in the Super Bowl. Still got Philly number 1. Because Philly has won so many games and figures out ways to win them. But this iteration of Detroit is the most dangerous team to Philly.
No question about it. I completely agree with you. And I'm going to use the same energy because we fear him. Well, that didn't happen. Having said all of that, I think you're absolutely right about the Detroit Lions. I view them as the number one threat. They can beat anybody. I don't have them as the favorite over Philly. I don't have them as the favorite over the Detroit Lions. But they're going to have Detroit in their schedule. So, again, the jury is still out on them. I would say Detroit is the answer to this question.
But you guys stole what I was going to say.
Before you, though, Mad Dog, there's an argument you can make.
And that's the story for them. The Lions, it's about a team.
Yeah.
The defense, the offense, the quarterback, the running game, Campbell. The Bucs, their start is really, the Ohio State kid's shown up too. But it's really about Mayfield, 4th quarter, chip on his shoulder, running on 4th and 10 for the first down against Houston. It's really about what he is doing more so than quote unquote team. The Lions, it's about the club. So that's the reason I would not make Tampa a legitimate threat to win the NFC.
I just want to remind everybody.
So I think they definitely could win the Super Bowl.
You know who agrees with you? ESPN Analytics.
Wow.
Give me B14, Cindy.
Really?
The Detroit Lions are now the favorites to win the NFC, according to our analytics, with a 20% chance. By the way, the highest probability of making the Super Bowl in the entire league is the Bills. So Bills-Lions is the likeliest Super Bowl. That was my preseason pick. Just thought I'd say that out loud.
It's such a cute Super Bowl.
Lions, Bills.
Both of those teams really deserve a championship.
The roar of Ford Field turns to a gut-wrenching silence. The Detroit Lions, your unbreakable warriors, limp off the field with just 13 points. 13 against a team they should have devoured. Preseason whispers? A nightmare. 7 points in the Hall of Fame game. 17, 17, and another pathetic 7. Pundits everywhere, myself included, after 50 years scripting the gridiron's bloodiest tales, declared the end. The offense is cooked, they screamed. Dan Campbell's gamble on unproven coordinators? A fatal collapse. But hold on, Lions Nation, because from those smoldering ruins, a beast awakens. This isn't redemption, it's resurrection. Through 4 weeks of the 2025 season, your boys have clawed back with 17 touchdowns, 1,460 total offensive yards, and a blistering 5.2 yards per play in their latest demolition of the Browns. Feel that fire in your veins? It's not just stats, it's the soul of Detroit rising, unyielding, ready to burn the NFC to the ground. And if you're an Eagles fan tuning in, sleep with one eye open. Your dynasty just met its predator. But how does a team teetering on the brink explode into a 4 1-point-per-game juggernaut over the last 3 weeks? Strap in, because the blueprint of this offensive apocalypse starts with the man they almost buried. John Morton, quarter century in the shadows, a ghost in NFL war rooms, steps into the spotlight, and suddenly, the Lions' attack isn't scheming, it's savagery. Dan Campbell, that alpha preacher with bite marks on his soul, rolls the dice on this unproven wizard after losing both coordinators. Critics howled. Proven commodity or bust? But Morton? He's alchemizing gold from grit. Last 3 weeks. 40. 1 points per game. A torrent that drowns defenses in their own hubris. Against the Browns' vaunted unit, the same that muzzled Jordan Love, Detroit carved 291 yards on 56 plays. No sacks allowed in 3 straight. It's not luck. It's lethal design. Morton's concepts flood zones like a Motown flood, clearing windows for daggers. And here's the controversy that'll split barstools. Is this genius elevating Campbell? Or is Dan the mad genius who saw Morton's fire when the league called him ash? Lions faithful, your coach isn't cheesy, he's the Brotherhood's beating heart, preaching toughness in a league gone soft. This duo? They're scripting Detroit's revenge arc, one explosive play at a time. But without the spark plugs, it's just smoke. Morton's the architect, but execution? That's where your pocket general and Thunderbacks turn blueprints to bloodshed. Let's dissect the duo that's got the NFC quaking. Jared Goff, once the Rams' golden boy, then Detroit's punching bag now? He's the unflinching surgeon, dissecting defenses with ice in his veins. Week 4. 168 passing yards on 27 attempts. Sure, but peel back the layers. No panic scrambles like Lamar. Yet he's weaving through pockets like a ghost, hitting 122 completions league-wide through 4 games. That INT against Cleveland? A rare hiccup in a symphony of precision man coverage cracked. Progressions flipped, like a point guard's dime. And Jahmyr Gibbs? Oh, the controversy brews. 6.1 yards per carry to David Montgomery's 1. 3 as Gibbs the heir apparent or Montgomery the undervalued bulldog. Against the Browns, Gibbs torched for 91 yards and a score, sprinting past safeties like they were statues in a Rust Belt graveyard. Their O-line? New blood meshing like family. 556 rushing yards total. Blocking paths to daylight that scream dominance. Feel the electricity, Detroit? This isn't an offense. It's a fraternity of fury, where every snap pulses with the city's unquenched hunger. But in a league of pretenders, one question haunts. Can they sustain this storm against the Chiefs' blitzkrieg next? These warriors wield the weapons, but the NFC's throne? It's Detroit's for the taking unless the doubters' curses catch up. Brace for the bigger war. Forget the fairy tale, the Detroit Lions aren't contenders. They're the apocalypse for the NFC elite. ESPN analytics crown them favorites to win the conference at 20% odds. Highest Super Bowl shot league-wide alongside the Bills. Philly clings to no, one with their win streak sorcery, but let's drop the bomb. This Lions iteration, the deadliest dagger to the Eagles' heart. No. One threat, bar none, they can gut anybody, anywhere. Tampa's Mayfield has bite, sure. Fourth quarter fire on 4th and 1-0. But the Bucks? A solo hero saga, not a Pack's primal hunt. Lions? It's the club defense, with 14 sacks. Offense a 929-yard passing freight train. Stuart Scott's ghost nods from above. Top 3. Just ain't top 2. Yet. But Detroit's ascending, a Chicago Cubs in shoulder pads, grit forged in failure. Society needs this. Unapologetic alpha, tears in victory, devotion to a city scarred but snarling. Eagles fans, your figures out ways to win mantra. It crumbles against Campbell's brotherhood. This is danger incarnate collapse for the complacent, glory for the gritty. And with the Bengals, Chiefs, Bucks, and a rematch with Green Bay looming, the jury's out, but my gut screams verdict. Super Bowl, baby. The path to Valhalla twists ahead, but one truth endures. In Detroit's roar, legends are reborn. Lions pride. From the 20-somethings grinding shifts to the 60-year vets nursing scars, this offense isn't playing. It's purging 0 to 3 demons, authoring a saga of 81 first downs and unbridled alpha fury. We feared the fall. Now we crave the conquest. Drop your takes below. Is Goff MVP bound, or Gibbs the spark? Hit like if Detroit's your nightmare for the NFC pretenders. Subscribe for the unfiltered fire, because in this league, every snap's a street fight. The Lions aren't coming. They're here, and they're hungry.